It's time to hunker down and keep quiet. Here come the turkeys. We tag along with members of 10 Feathers Lodge, hunting buddies who created their own tradition.
Heads I shoot, tails you shoot.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic highlights a guy with the voice to talk turkey.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hey everybody, Laura and I welcome you to the show.
I just love this time of year. The snow is melting and we can finally get back into the woods.
And I think members of the 10 Feathers camp can certainly relate. They are turkey hunters who look forward to this time of year like clockwork.
Spring is the season of new, a fresh start, so to speak. Exactly why hunters head for the woods.
I would say silver side up, huh?
They're longer. That's what I thought for this soft soil.
That's Bill Worth, and that's his hunting buddy, Calvin Cookie Strauss, founders of a Minnesota tradition. I'll let them explain.
I'm the 10 Feathers Lodge, so we gave it a name. All of a sudden one day I says, 10 feathers. It just stuck.
See, every spring, as sure as the grass greens up, these two get together to hunt.
It's pretty funny, and next thing you know, we're calling it 10 Feathers Lodge.
And that's Clint Anderson.
We're gonna hang the basketball hoop up there too?
10 Feathers, new kid on the block.
Took me a few years, but I finally got my hat. Once you get a hat, then you're in.
Moving day.
Okay, so 10 Feathers might not be an actual lodge, but this camp's passion sits stout as any concrete foundation.
You know, there's just something about being in the spring turkey woods that's kind of coming back to life after a long winter.
In turkey talk, 10 Feathers Longbeards settle into cushy living. I set up in a more meager setting.
I just kind of slid into archery, and it's quiet, and it's definitely a challenge. Well, I had a little red dot right here, and it looks like it took it off. It was sitting right in this diamond, so.
Tomorrow's hunt will pit archers against guys with shotguns. See, at 10 Feathers, teams flip.
What's the flip?
Wasn't the flip who's going to go first?
Wait a second, I want to see this thing.
No, wait a minute.
I want to see if this is an honest coin.
What?
What? I saw this get screwed up in the Super Bowl, so I know it can happen with you. So,
In a Super Bowl.
all right, let's see what's head.
All right, so this is heads.
All right, okay. Heads I shoot, tails you shoot. I'm nervous.
Tail.
Oh!
You know, just like this hunt and every hunt, it's all about the stories. Every time you come in, you got a new story.
This story starts with a bang. By morning,
Wake up, time to go to work.
storm clouds clear out and hunters gear up. Bill and I have a short hike to a lonely field corner. A spot where we hunker down and slowly Minnesota's woods wake up. Somewhere just out of sight and buried in the fog, turkeys start talking.
You wouldn't think you'd get excited about a hen. Heck, you can't even hunt them, but that's the excitement of being out in the woods, being that close to those wild animals and just watching them do their thing.
It's almost as if she knows she's off limits. Pfft, show off.
And it's so amazing to just quietly sit still and watch those birds do their thing. I mean, that is the lure of turkey hunting.
Coming up next, hearts pump as the big birds finally come out to play.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota's Select GMC dealers, by the Yard maintenance-free outdoor furniture, Running Aces Casino, Hotel and Racetrack, and by Aluma Craft Boats.
Today we highlight life in Ten Feathers Turkey Camp, a place in the woods where you just never know what you might run into.
Even on 3 hours of rain-soaked sleep, hearts pump as Ten Feathers members get to the first full day of spring turkey hunting.
The sleeping part's brutal. But you know what's amazing? You get up every morning and just fired up to go again.
100% true of those birds this morning that we could hear off to our left, right here.
Within moments, our guts prove right.
When those birds sneak in, you just freeze. And it's so amazing to just quietly sit still and watch those birds do their thing.
Too bad she's off limits. Turkey hunters can only harvest males. Minnesota's wild turkey story is one of great success. Late in the 1800s, both land development and hunters all but wiped out Minnesota's wild turkeys. Throughout the 1900s, biologists and conservationists tried to reintroduce wild birds, but they never seemed to stick. Then, in 1971, the Minnesota DNR released 24 wild turkeys transported from Missouri. Slowly, that population reproduced, and Minnesota's birds flourished. Today, more than 30,000 wild turkeys roam the southern two-thirds of Minnesota. In fact, seems they're now all over the place.
You know, it's funny because a friend will call on the way to work and be like, I'm driving along Highway 12, there are turkeys along the road. What's the big deal about hunting them? Well, when you actually try to go and hunt a turkey, you understand how difficult it can be.
Still ahead, hunters find a big surprise before sunrise. You just have to look up in the trees.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Maple Grove Lock and Safe, your premier Liberty safe dealer.
Members of Ten Feathers Turkey Camp know it's important to be up before the sun. And on another note, they know it's also important to look up.
Bill Worth and I cannot catch a break. I think the old cliche applies. Close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes. Last night's turkeys just would not close the deal. Talk about frustrating. Don't worry about it. Bygones. It's forgotten. While the turkeys outsmarted us, Ten Feathers Lodge newbie Clint Anderson and his buddy Cal scouted their best turkey spots. Looks like they have an idea where the birds are hunkering down.
You don't know. You're always nervous. Like the first morning I walked out there, you're nervous.
Instantly, we realize what's up. Rather, what's above. See it?
We were right underneath the birds. You get so excited, just instantly. It's an adrenaline rush.
Right on cue, that first gobbler pops down out about 75 yards in front. And then, a second bird hops down. Look at that. 2 birds, and the one has a giant double beard. Even with Clint's smoothest and silkiest talk, his birds still walk.
They came across here?
Yeah.
I couldn't see them. I was looking through the bushes that way. I could hear them, but they were quite a ways down from me.
It's about being out in the woods. I love nature. I love outdoors. It's not about really the kill. That's just the bonus.
My bonus comes on our last night.
You think they're coming here? This way, you mean?
Yeah, because they have no reason to go there.
Bill Worth and I set up in our same evening spot. And right away, I spot a bird. Up on the field, a big old gobbler. It's like he wants us to see him. Then slowly, too slowly, he creeps closer.
You can only hunt till sunset, and we know that sunset is at 8:29. So it's like I'm watching the watch, just looking at this thing going, okay, what's gonna happen? That bird is hot, and the clock is ticking.
Finally, with his head up right in front of me, I let him walk. The ghost goes free.
No turkey. He got into range about 5 minutes after sunset. We were 5 minutes too late, and you just have to say, it's okay.
When you measure success for turkey hunting, it's getting them close. It's not all about the kill.
And at the core of this story, still, a place called 10 Feathers, and the friends who call it home.
Kind of looking forward to actually sitting down for a meal.
Sometimes stories do have happy endings.
I'm back in camp. It seems like the birds have our number. And who comes rolling into camp? Well, look who's here.
Dude, that was so fun.
Get lost? Solid.
Look at that one, man. It's a nice thick beard.
Nice job, buddy.
The short version is this. I got the bird. I know.
You know, I think spring turkey camp is about passion. It's about just being here, surrounded by this.
Straight ahead, we take a closer look at the art of calling wildlife. Ralph Duren never needs gadgets.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut, Mountain Dew, Radco Truck Accessories, Bent Creek Golf Course, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic is all about a guy with a knack for calling coyotes, talking turkey, even rabbits.
Ralph Duren has made a career out of calling wildlife, and he truly is a Minnesota Bound classic.
My privilege to introduce to you Ralph Duren. Ralph?
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Meet Ralph Duren, a Missouri farm boy who grew up with a magical voice box.
When I turned 5, we had our first turkey season in Missouri since 1934. So I listened to the hen turkeys on the farm, and I learned to go.
In Ralph's boyhood world, one turkey sound made with his voice led to another and another.
There's the fly down cackle when they come off the limb.
Turkey talk is only the beginning of Ralph's repertoire as Mother Nature's mimic. When spring dawns return to Missouri and the dogwoods bloom, you'll find Ralph is no longer a stage act, but a turkey hunter. With so many calls in his turkey conversation, where does he start?
I didn't really have a whole arsenal. Go with the one he likes best.
Yeah.
At last count, some 135 animals reside within his voice box, speaking up on command when Duren opens his mouth.
And of course I started with farm animals because they were right there.
His mimicking talents have led to appearances on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, as well as a career with the Missouri Conservation Department, teaching school children about wildlife by imitating their calls.
What's the hardest one you do?
Well, the hardest ones are the real high ones, like the coyote howl and the elk bugle. That's the tough one.
The next morning, Ralph's turkey calls became irresistible to a fine Missouri gobbler.
Oh, he's coming.
A moment later, the hunt was over.
Yeah.
Chalk up another gobbler fooled by the man of many voices.
Yeah, he gobbled, didn't he?
Not a bad beer.
Yeah, okay, spur,
I can't
pretty
see
good
the spurs
spur.
yet.
It's instant gratification.
Not a bad beer.
When you can make a sound and get a response from an animal. And the turkey gobble is special. It's just special. Anything you can do, whether it's or
So you see, the Missouri man with a magical voice box is not an act. He's just being Ralph.
And he just goes, here I am. Thanks for coming. Have a great day.
Okay, Laura, I dare you. Let's see what you got.
Well, when I was a little girl, my dad taught me how to sound like an owl. You would say, who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Not bad. Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors. There you go. Almost.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.